Kevin, are you really here?
Who's that, Leslie?
We're here. Here. I have the wood stove on.
Yeah, you need it. I'm gonna go see if Leslie's computer is working.
Okay.
Yeah, we're supposed to get down to 26 tonight.
Where's this? What?
26 degrees is what Weather Underground is saying for our low tonight.
And I'm so glad I planted some things early.
Actually, you know, that reminds me, I'm going to take off for a second. I got to tell Marty because she might want to cover part of her garden. I'll be right back.
Yes. Yeah, I've just finished that. Unbelievable. Well, it'll warm up later. Let's see, where's my Okay, there we go.
I just had to let her know. She didn't panic. She said she hasn't planted anything that can't use it.
No.
I'm so sorry. A minute ago, no, I was waiting for the host to let me in, so I got started on the other computer, and then all of a sudden, here I am.
But you're
We've
not
got-
Kevin.
No, but we've got his
She
computer
just
working.
did that to freak me out. Everybody out. Nice move, Leslie.
Well, I'll tell you, at the last meeting, they changed my name. I don't know how, but they did.
What is your new name?
Leslie Bracebridge. I've had it for a number of years now.
You can,
I checked in at Cemetery Commission because the Friends just made a donation to them, and Walter did something. He put my name to me.
You
But
did
maybe- But I had a feeling when I came back to a new meeting, it wouldn't stick. So don't worry. You can see it's not Kevin.
yeah.
yeah,
No.
after the meeting, you might find a setting somewhere that you can change it.
I'll look for it. I'm not good at these things, but so
Not always
it's,
intuitive.
But I can change yours for now.
Oh, that's
that
right.
would
You're
be
the
just as
host.
well. You never know if someone will show up at your meeting. They're so much fun.
Are you on Kevin's computer?
Yes, it's working like a charm. I'm so happy.
Mhm.
David's been using mine when he's here, and I still can have a computer. I'm gonna,
So that's probably why you've got Kevin's name up there, right?
not anymore.
But you're
That's-
thinking, but I think Howard, you're thinking she can go into the computer and change the owner on the computer.
That's probably true, but don't count on it.
So what did you do? How did you fix it?
Or she
Huh?
fixed it originally about a month ago.
I got into it. Yeah, there was this FN button that was locked and on, and it was, but everything's working. We ran some scans and tests and fix-its, and we're all set. Don't mean to take your time. I'm just so happy to have a computer that can both take my picture and talk at the same time.
Okay.
And you can chew gum.
Yes,
Okay,
lots
so,
of good things happening in the assessors department.
Yes.
oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And Howard
I
will
forgot
get
you.
in.
Happy
Earbuds.
anniversary, April.
You remembered.
Yes,
How
I
did you-
did.
How did you remember?
42 years, because I wrote it down in my minutes last time. And George, I think was, oh, I would have to go back. It's not today, but it's sometime in April. George
It's
and
Monday.
it was Monday.
It'll
Yeah.
be Monday.
Oh, coming up. Well,
Yeah, and I forget how many years. I'll have to go back and
Uh-oh.
do the math.
That's your anniversary?
Yeah, 41 years it'll be.
Yep.
in April, you share the day with David Burgess, whose birthday is today.
And is he 42 as well?
No, he wishes.
Oh, let me see. I was
He's
42.
69.
Oh, okay. I was 42, 39 years
I'm-
ago. I met.
No, he's not. He's older than I am.
You're all giving
Which-
away your ages.
Not
That's
me.
Me neither.
I've passed the 50th anniversary of my 21st birthday.
Really? Wow,
Congratulations.
April. That's impressive.
It's impressive.
Wow.
Very impressive. Howard, do you like birthdays?
Do I like birthdays? They're okay. Yeah, I kind of do, actually. Yeah.
Cool. I like
Why?
them.
They come-
I was busy not asking you your age.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. So,
I've opened it at
I'm gonna open the
6:30.
meeting.
yeah,
I'm going to open the meeting. Participating remotely are board members April Stein and George Armenitis, Chairman Howard Spetner, Town Administrator Becky Torres, and Assessors Clerk Leslie Bracebridge. First item on our agenda is to approve the meeting minutes from April 19th. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about them?
I do not.
Neither do
Okay. I am going to move that we accept those minutes.
I'll
I
second.
could- And I'll say,
Okay. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Second item is the April accountants reports. I believe there's only one. Got that right, Leslie?
Yeah,
Okay,
that is correct. And it was for the abatements that were approved. Well, we're waiting your stamp for my report
mhm,
made during April 2023. Total amount $360.29.
and these are all motor vehicle, yes.
They're all motor vehicle and they were all from the 2023 first commitment.
Okay.
Uh,
I move that we accept. Yes, no. I move that we accept the accountant reports.
I'll second that.
Arnett, aye?
Stein, aye.
Okay. Okay, the
Howard,
motion
you have to
passes.
vote.
I'm sorry?
Don't you
I have
want
to vote. Oh, when I move, I'm not voting when I move. I have to vote separately. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. I vote to accept the accountant reports. Okay. Third item is the motor vehicle commitments that we've got.
That's right.
Okay. One of those is for 136 something, and one of those is for $7.39.
Mhm.
One is
I
for
gotta
one-
add,
Go ahead.
I gotta
One of the
ask.
$33.72 is for
Okay.
fiscal year, calendar year 23. It's the 20th commitment. Ellen works in decade, 10s, 20, 30s for rebuilds and well, basically rebuilds. And she works for second, third for new vehicles that come from the registry. It's a little confusing for the rest of the world, but it makes her accounting work
Mhm.
easier. But go ahead, Howard, I interrupted. I didn't know you had a question. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So the 136 something, that's FY 23?
I shouldn't,
No, calendar year 23.
that's correct, $133.72. And It's, you know, we've only done the first commitment. Now we're doing the 20th, and that's because these are rebills, towns that got ours that where people had moved and vice versa. Those rebills she does in 10, 20, 30. Well, apparently not 10 in case she needs 10 for commitments. The standard commitments from the registry, which are people who have sold their car, totaled their car, or something like that, canceled their registration, those go in the, or get new registrations. I apologize. Wait a minute, abatements would be for cancellations. I'm sorry, cancellations. Chances are they sold a vehicle. Those are in standard numbers. But the two we have here are the 40th for calendar year 2022. And that was a tail end. It was a rebill that she got that's why it's only $7.39. And that's why there's just one. And this 133.72 is for calendar year 23. But, well, I won't say anything more.
What's a rebill? What's a rebill?
Okay, for an example, we would get a bill from the registry where someone had moved to another town, oh, wait a minute, this is commitments, not abatements. It's still, I'm so sorry. I'm not on my toes tonight. Abatements would be different. Commitments is straight from the registry. It's straight from the registry. And I can't tell you why some are 20s and some are single numbers at the moment.
Okay.
I probably could be that they came back from, say, Amherst. People with Amherst addresses came back to us. I'd have to look in the book.
Okay.
Is that the commitment book?
Yes, it is. And I'm not supposed to, well, I guess I can read the names because I'm sorry, we're not doing abatements. This is a commitment. It's 3 people. 2 with Amherst addresses, mailing addresses, but truly they live in Shutesbury. So let me think this through. So those bills probably went to Amherst first and then got kicked back because they're actually Shutesbury residents. That's that's for the calendar year 23, 20th commitment.
Okay.
So when we sent out the first set of bills, these people were not on those bills, and so now you're sending out additional bills.
Yes, that's correct. They weren't in the
Okay.
first commitment.
Okay, so these are just additional bills above and beyond because they were discovered subsequently.
Yes, as opposed to when people register a new car because they bought a new car. Those I think would be second commitment, first, second, third. We can check that with Ellen, but I think that's how she numbers them. The ones straight from the registry, which are new registrations, get the 1, 2, 3 numbers, and the 20, 30s, 40s are rebills, but I'd have to check with her to be sure on
Okay.
that.
Oh, that's okay. But the
Yeah.
point is, these were not billed and should have been, and now we're going to bill. Now that we've discovered them, we're going to bill them.
That's correct. Both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. So,
So you
I
could vote
move-
to let me put your signature stamps on these.
Mhm.
okay. Do we need to vote to approve these commitments?
That's what I'm saying. You could vote that would
Okay.
authorize in given under our hands this, and she likes them dated the day she does them. So what the bottom of it says is given under our hands this 20th day of April, 2023, Board of Assessors of Shutesbury. So I would think you might like to vote that we put your name on that.
Yeah,
It
Yeah,
doesn't
sure,
say we
okay.
voted. It's a notice greeting to Ellen McKay, collector of taxes. You can read the whole thing
Mhm.
yourselves. It doesn't
Right.
say we voted, but we are committing to you to collect the interest and fees.
so it sounds like we might as well vote,
Might as well.
Okay,
might as
Yes,
well.
okay, okay, I move that we put our signature stamps on the commitments. Is that what I'm voting? Is that
Yeah.
what we're going to vote? Okay, I move that we vote to put the signature stamps on these two commitments.
I'll second that.
Okay,
Urbanitis, aye.
and,
Stein, aye.
and I'm in favor. I approve of
Okay.
this. Okay,
Technically, we
Um,
get the information from the registry and then we send it back out. So, but in the middle, you're looking at it to see, okay, that's okay.
Okay,
so the information that comes from the registry, does it go straight to Ellen or does it come to us first?
It has always gone straight to Ellen, and I think what she's indicating to me that as she switches from Point to Vadar, it's going to be coming to assessors first, and
Okay,
we'll be sending it to her. It never made sense to me why she would give me this list of names and all the information, and I make up the sheet and send it back to her. It never made sense, but that's why, because that's how bread is sliced in Massachusetts, according to Point. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm learning. Truly, we did not make the report. All we did was take the information the registry sent to Point that Ellen sent to us, that we're saying, yes, we're committing this to you, and sending it back to her. That could change in time.
mhm.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is the personal property assessment vendor options update, which is something that Becky knows about, right?
Yes.
Oh, good.
So we had, if you all recall, well, two updates. I just want to be sure first that I let you know that over the last few weeks, in case I sometimes forget what I've told some groups of people, but David Burgess has agreed to a permanent, permanent situation going forward, where he will work 5 hours a week, 20 hours a month for the assessors. And it started on, basically what I'm taking to the select board is that they will be hiring him retroactive to April 15th.
That's great news.
That's fabulous news.
We lucked out.
We did. That's incredible news.
It's
And what-
really very reassuring.
And so David and Leslie have started going out on, do you call them site visits? Leslie?
Inspections.
Inspections.
Okay, so as I understand it, we need to have a program of cyclical re-inspections that involves basically looking at 10% of all of our properties every year, so we get them all done every 10 years. He's going to do it.
Mhm.
Well,
That's
there's a
true. He's
little bit more to it.
There's two, wait. So first of
Wait,
all,
wait.
talk about David Burgess, who is going to continue his support of as administrative assessor of the assessing department with Leslie. And then come back and forth with Roy Bishop. Roy had sent me a list of tasks that he would perform annually And I reviewed that list of tasks with David Burgess, and I will forward to you all. And then he outlined what the assessor's responsibilities will be ongoing. So for $5,000, he will do not only the 504 utility valuations, but he will do building permit and new construction, property inspections and data entry of changes, sales review, personal property valuations, review of chapter land applications and data entry, which will probably, David Burgess said that'll probably be done in-house. And value all property in Shutesbury and prepare all DOR forms and gateway submissions for the final reval. And assessor's abatement review, that is one of the items that David said they'll probably do in-house. Periodic communication with the town and assessors. So this is Roy Bishop for $5,000 a year will help support all of these tasks that I just outlined, and David will be holding down the fort with Leslie on a weekly basis, performing all the, servicing the community and all the other tasks, and we'll likely finish up new growth. I think you guys have finished new growth for this year, Leslie?
Yes, only because the calendar says we're finished, but David really expects to keep moving, in the coming year
Keep
too.
updating.
So, I see David right now, at least, doing much of the tasks on Roy's list. And so those two gentlemen are both superior at their work, and they seem to work kind of seamlessly together. I wouldn't be surprised if David continues with the new growth and various things. Not sure how they're going to divvy it up, but
Yep. But it did seem like, David, there's definitely overlap in these two different lists, but the
yes,
pricing is very, very reasonable. So I feel like we're double covered.
the most important thing to the assessors, I think, is that we've got Roy Bishop lined up to make sure we do the annual recertification tax rate setting procedure, which we always hired. We always hired someone for the reval year, but correct me if I'm wrong, Howard. I thought Roy helped Ken, maybe Kevin did it himself. Maybe he had a consultant the first year, Becky.
He had a consultant. I think Kevin had a consultant.
Yeah, because you don't want to make any mistakes there. It's good to have someone watching over it. So I'm just stunned. My jaw dropped all the way home thinking about that. We've got both of them.
Yeah.
It's
Two people who are
amazing.
extremely experienced in this area, and we're getting them for $11,500 a year. It's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
That's
like I've died and gone to heaven. I mean, geez.
Roy
Thank
is
you.
saying,
Thank you,
Things don't
Becky.
usually go
Good
this
job,
way.
Becky.
Yeah,
Yes.
Good
nice
job,
work.
Leslie. I
Great.
mean, it's just everybody working together in his life situation. This is working, and it might change. So we'll,
We have what we have.
but
Yeah,
we
enjoy
have
it while
this
we have it.
and
No, this is
we'll
great. Okay.
do our best.
So one quick question on new growth. I thought we didn't have to have it done until June 30th.
he explained, well, for the bills, and Ellen wants the bills out before June 30th. So
Okay.
he'll look at something. I've been driving and he's been clipboarding, and he says, well, that's going to be done by June 30th. That gets 100%, or
Okay.
I'm going to leave that at the slab, that sort of thing. But what he pointed, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to say it. Remember what he explained to us, Becky, that he wants to do as much new growth as he possibly can. So if people come back, we can make adjustments in the future bills rather than take it out of, wait till the third quarter and have to take it out of overlay.
Yeah.
So he's very way ahead of anybody.
Yeah,
thinking.
no, he's thinking the whole picture out and trying to be the most efficient he can be at each piece of it. Which is,
Wow.
And
This is
also having
fabulous.
having a, focusing in on new growth and having an idea of where it is and where it's headed is helpful for putting the budget together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We are seeing a lot of tear downs and rebuilds down in the lake area.
Oh, God, yes. There's a
So
huge house going up down there.
But the tear down and
that's not
rebuild,
the only one
that's,
either.
No, oof.
where's there a huge house going up?
Right on Lake Viola.
I know, but
It-
what part of Lake
North
Viola?
Laurel Drive.
Yeah,
North Laurel.
it was
Oh,
that
I've
red,
seen it across the water. I wondered what was happening.
yeah.
Interesting.
And
even
when
in
it's,
Shutesbury.
yeah, he's, David's really good. I hope he continues to do this, even though it's saying it's on Roy's list, but I think David's.
No, well,
done-
he said that they were gonna, go back and he wanted me to yeah, I've got to give Roy an update on the new growth. I got to check in with David first. So I wasn't sure. Because at first he told me to tell Roy that you guys were all done, but then after today, it seemed like Leslie had
I
prepped
stayed
a bunch
late
of
last night
packets.
digging.
Yeah. She worked overtime last night and prepared a pile for them to go over today. So now there's more new growth to do.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, we'll take it.
And David will be away. He's going to the Caribbean, I think, a first trip,
Yeah, we don't need to announce the dates and times, just,
No. but
Yeah.
he'll be back. And he's just been amazing.
So
Great
how
news.
you convey, well, I would love to come and meet with him at some point, when you're meeting. I'd love if that doesn't interfere, but I really would love to, get to know him better in this capacity, if that's possible. I'm going to be gone the next few Fridays as well, but we'll keep that in mind.
Is Friday going to be his regular day?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Okay,
No.
okay.
He,
Okay.
he
I
seems
wasn't-
to jump around depending on what his personal needs are and his family needs are. There doesn't seem to be a regular day yet. But
Okay.
I hope you have a good time on your Fridays, April.
I do. They're just like their other days. Yes.
You're going to the Cape, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I am going to the Cape. Yes.
Nice, love it there.
Yeah. But it's just thank you for all for having this come together and just it's really
Sometimes you
so good
just
for
have
the
to
town.
take time,
Yeah.
Time,
It's out of bad things, some even better things can come.
Well,
You know,
clearly,
he-
David, clearly you have a good relationship with Dave, and Dave seems to like our town and the people he's working with. I mean,
Mhm.
we earned it to some extent. It is good luck, there's no question, and out of the kindness of David's heart, but I think it's also the work you do, Leslie, and Becky too. The relationships you have with him is huge.
It's a really good point.
Well, let's move on and not be personal anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
But we'll,
Um, so, Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the Massachusetts Association of Assessing Officers request for individual email addresses. Leslie,
Yes,
they want our
Becky.
email addresses?
Becky's been really busy lately. I wanted to tell her ahead of time, but I gave you all the notice from the person who I think is volunteers for the association
Mhm.
to bill us. And I don't know that now that you've all got municipal style email addresses, I think it's great because you're going to see any announcements from the MAAO right away. I won't have to send them to you.
I think that's,
So,
yeah.
if you don't mind, I just didn't want to be giving out your email addresses, but I think what's gonna have to happen, Becky, they're gonna get individual bills and they can forward them back to us and we'll just make one payment back.
That sounds fine.
That's perfect.
So
Yep.
watch for
Um,
them when you get it, just forward it back to us. As soon as I get one, I'll tell the others, take a look and see if you've gotten yours yet. And
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the backup. Good, thank you.
yep, so I wanted your permission to do that. And then just the rest of it is just, oh, wait a minute, that would be the next issue, the one from DOR starting to send all their stuff out. And I almost feel like you may want to switch those email addresses over too. I've got a sense for what George likes to get, anything from DOR.
Well, it's certainly finance committee related.
Right. So it not that much comes, but I
It's
don't know.
what I think I have had, every few days I've been getting something recently. So it ebbs and flows.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you get everything probably, whereas ours is just assessors and assessor collector finance kind of stuff, but you get COVID and who knows what else. But
But
Good.
DOR, is always pretty busy.
yeah, so that's not a decision that has to be made right now, but it seems like it's this particular group of assessors seems to like to see the broader issue for various reasons. One, April, probably because she was a select person, George, finance, Howard, just because he's very interested in assessing. Not that you all aren't, but I'm just saying it's different.
Fascinating, absolutely. It's fascinating.
I think that would be Grace that submits those email addresses.
I think she puts them in Gateway.
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it would be, yeah. So
She
Grace needs
updates.
to make that change and we don't need to do it today because she's hitting one of those incredible
Oh,
crunch between public records requests being out of over the top and then a town meeting coming up and
Election. Yep.
election and getting all her election workers and dealing with mail-in voting, early vote, all the different voting. It's a lot.
After July 1,
lot.
she has to update Gateway anyway, and that might be the time. It's so
I
I
think
can
that-
give her those email addresses, assuming that you all want to move forward. That
oh,
way.
that's absolutely, that's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
And
I-
she'll need them anyway, so it'll be a perfect time to do it.
Becky, just one thing you just said, town clerk is still being inundated with records requests,
Yes.
just from personnel board perspective. She didn't mention that when we were talking last week, and I realized afterwards I should have asked. But
Yeah.
that's still ongoing. Okay,
Yeah. No, and that's another reason why the assistant town clerk at this point would be
well, that's,
tremendously helpful because of the amounts of hours that she loses. She can lose a day, a 5-hour day just to working through one or two.
no, I understand. When she broached the subject with the personnel board, she had mentioned a lot of things, but I don't think she mentioned that. But that is another item when discussing the reason for the assistant that we need to make sure is on the bullet list,
Definitely.
bullet points.
Do I have a municipal email address, Leslie?
You do not. I was thinking I would speak to you after rather than keep going through it this time.
Okay,
But
fine. Okay.
the simple thing is you would just go to Gmail and set up an account for, typically what we do is our last name .Shutesbury @gmail.com.
Can I avoid this?
Can you avoid it? You don't
Yeah, can I
want to because you want to keep.
I would
all
rather,
your-
it's easy. It's easier
purpose
if everything just goes through.
It's easier, but the purpose of it is to keep your personal email out of public records, and if there is any challenge to the Board of Assessors, the municipal actions in our town, it's possible that they could seize your whole email for any investigation. If you separate out your municipal business in one email, they can have that and it doesn't interrupt your personal life.
Am I already vulnerable to that, given the fact that I've been using my personal email for all this the last 3 years?
Right, moving forward,
I
it would
probably-
be good to just end it.
Okay, so maybe I can
Nothing
get out
bad
of
has
it. Okay.
happened yet. You're lucky, but,
Okay.
and if you need help setting up a Gmail account, probably we could even do it up here if you came up, but you just go to
Okay.
Gmail and ask to set up an account. It's pretty straightforward.
I have a Gmail account. Could I use it just for that? I have a Gmail account that I could. I have a Gmail account that in order to do what I'm doing now, I had to set up a Gmail account on this computer. I could
The
just
ones
use,
for
yeah,
Shutesbury, we usually do, as I say, last name .shutesbury.gmail.com, which kind
Yeah.
of aligns you with the municipal end of it.
right,
You
okay.
don't have to,
Okay.
but you can have 3
I'll figure
accounts.
it out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So also we're sending the MAAO dues money. You said we get a bill from the MAAO.
Yes, at some point. I'm not sure when it will be.
It's
How much
usually
is
the
it?
beginning of the fiscal year.
How much are we paying? How much does it cost?
It goes up,
Roughly.
I
Probably
think it was
$100.
less than.
Yeah.
I think it was 62.50 2
Wow.
years ago. And then it goes up it's gone up some,
Okay,
no more than 100, that's for sure.
okay.
I keep interrupting. I'm really sorry.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is DOR DLS April issue of City and Town Resources for New Assessors and Other Training Options. Okay, so Leslie, what do we have to deal with here?
You don't have to do a thing. This is kind of
Okay,
what we've been talking about. One of the things that came through from DOR, the Division of Local Services, was that whole issue for new assessors that I thought might be of interest to you. So that one I saved and sent along as an example of things that you might get if you give your email addresses to Grace for this when she goes into Gateway at the start of the new year. Some trainings, as you could, I think I sent along example of a training coming up, but more important than that is that it gives you a link to going to the YouTube DOR Division of Local Services site, where all of these trainings are available on video too. Some people prefer video. I kind of person who likes to look at the statute and written material, but the trend seems to be going to YouTube, and they have their own YouTube site for assessors for training. So I just wanted to make you aware of all that, and also since it came to my mind with this training for new assessors publication, and because the Massachusetts Association of Assessing Officers, there's two. There's the government, state government, DOR, and then there's the Association for Assessing Officers. They both provide training, they both provide events, but DOR has this YouTube website, which I think you might enjoy looking at, knowing it's there.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm actually putting it in my favorites right now. DLS training videos. I'm at that site. I'm going to put those in there. So in the future, it'll be a good reference if I want to look something up.
Yeah.
I will do that. Thank you.
And
You're
I've signed
welcome.
up, I signed up for the June 6th training just because it sounds interesting.
It sure does, yeah, and it's
That's the
free,
recap training, right?
Yes.
yeah, then
I've
it's free. And if you can't make it that day, you can look at it on YouTube
Right.
after the fact.
And we did get trained on it, April, so it should be, in our lessons, so it should be.
Yeah,
fine.
yes, it should be, but the more familiarity, that
True.
was, yes. Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, how'd you do on that?
I messed up the first time. It's like, oh, no, stop, think. And then I got it.
Yeah, I filled in some things and then I went back and checked my work and realized I didn't do it right. And then I got it right the second time. But
Yeah.
recap is something I study every year. I don't say study it, but I'm very familiar with it because on the FinCom, I like looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have 3 more modules. I know you're probably, then I'll be done. That's for it.
Okay.
Almost
There's
there.
no
The summer's here, so
competition.
I've been letting it slide. Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
Yeah, rainy days are good for that. Anyway.
Yes.
I love the competition.
It's not competition. We're not competing.
It's
I
Not
love
at
the
all.
non-competition.
We got 2 years to do it, so I could do one every 9 months and
No,
I'm still
you only
okay.
have 1 year.
Yeah, if you
Thought
look
it
at
was
that, it's 1 year.
It's
Oh,
only
it's
1
one?
year. The new regs had changed.
Oh, I
It
better
used
get
to
to
be
it then.
2, yeah.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, excise taxes and property taxes and I'm done.
Oh. Yeah, I've got the, anyway.
But especially with excise taxes, which happen all the time, it just doesn't cover the telephone calls explaining things and back and forth. But I moved out of the state. I don't have to pay you. So that's fine. You don't have to, if you don't want to, but wait till you try to register your vehicle the next time.
Doing this thing.
Right.
It's all statutory. We have no choice at the local level. It is
Yep.
what it is.
And some people get badly hung up on it. They didn't, either they had moved, they never saw the bills, maybe they were living in a house with other students.
Oh, right.
Nothing got passed on and they moved back to the area and it's like, oh my God. They
Yep.
can't get a license, they can't.
And
And one
some
thing-
states
yeah.
are reciprocal too, so that even though they may have gone to, I think Florida might be one of them. It's still going to follow them even in Florida.
Nice.
Always pay your excise tax and come to the assessors for an abatement.
Okay.
A lot of people will pretend, they'll think, well, I'll just ride on these Massachusetts plates till they run out. And I'll just tell them, well, I moved 6 months ago, so I don't have to pay it. But till they cancel in Massachusetts, they do have to pay, even if they're gone.
That.
Even if we're dead, we'll have to pay it.
Wait a
There you
minute.
go. Actually, we let a couple, we did a
No,
couple
we had some-
abatements because of death, didn't we?
Yes, 8 of
Like a couple meetings
58.
ago? Yes.
Oh, then I'm wrong. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's-
So the only other thing is now, for me anyway, it's down to things within the 48 hours. I just didn't do a good job again. I had it on my first draft and I didn't put it into the final, my government, the means tested application. But as I say, it seems to be a standard thing that towns are using, and you can vote to accept it, or if you want to make it, send in edits for it before the next meeting, I'll correct it.
but
Are
it-
we not allowed to talk, because it's not on the agenda, are we not allowed to discuss it now?
No, you don't want to get into detail and vote on anything as
that wasn't
significant
Okay.
on
as
the-
that. A lot of
Okay.
people are interested in it.
So
Okay,
is this ultimately voted on, has to be approved by the select board as well? Or,
The select board has to vote a percentage.
okay, okay, that's right.
But we're going to vote on the application. The application is up to us, basically.
Okay.
And the application-
technically, we're
And the
all of
applications
us
are going to,
appointed by the select board, so they could override you, I suppose. I don't think they plan to.
No, I doubt it. Yeah,
okay. And the applications are also going to come to us. We're going to have to review them.
right.
That's true?
Didn't I send them out?
Well,
The
after the,
applications
So
are,
you're saying when people fill out the applications, they will fill them out and give them to the assessors. Yes, sorry.
yes. And
Okay, okay.
like any other exemption application, it will be confidential information. You would be able to come into the office individually. If you come together, you're a quorum, and
Right.
look at anything you want. What will happen is I will have David make sure that he's comfortable with what happens to them.
Mhm.
And I would do basically what I did for the springtime exemptions, just say, we have 5 exemptions that our administrative assessor has approved at this amount of
Mhm.
money, and you please come in ahead of time if you want to look at them before the vote or something like that. Otherwise, you have to go into executive session and you're passing everybody's application around. It's just not a recommended way to do it. We're a small enough town, you could do it that way, but it's easier to just trust our administrative assessor. And
Mhm.
you all are privy to look at them. By statute, the 3 assessors can look at them,
That
but
sounds
you don't
fine.
need to.
Assessors, not me. I'm not approved.
Well,
No.
I was looking at the process and what needs to be done, as long as you're telling me that you're following the steps, the individuals are filing the proper form and the support that's required, like the mass tax return and specifically the circuit breaker credit, then as long as you tell me you're doing that work, I'm fine.
And if there's any question, as with the exemptions, there's any fine line, like someone's $1 under or something like that, and David says, oh, you have to, and I say, no, we can't, or something, which doesn't happen, but those kinds of questions, then we would have to go into executive session and say, look, here's the situation. How do you want it handled?
Yeah,
But typically, it's pretty black and white, these exemptions.
yeah, the documentation that's required is pretty concrete.
Leslie, I'm not recalling. So when should that go? When do we put together the
The
number?
packets will go out the beginning of July, and they're due back on August 31st. I frankly am not confident about the procedure with the select board. I'm
Okay.
kind of be leaning on you and
Yeah,
George and people who understand this better than me, Howard. You
I
may
just
have to
was
consult.
unclear if, yeah, so I'll review it again because I'm not clear whether they need to vote in June before the packets go out or if they can do it in July, which I'm hoping they can. Because I think it does also, I think the report needs the information of how many people are responding
Mhm.
to
I'm not
generate.
following you. The applications, the blank applications can go out to the,
Right,
as soon as they're approved by the Board of Assessors.
but the select board piece, they need a report on the costs and analysis of that. So
That's
Um,
at the end of August, once we get back whatever we get back. It's
Yeah,
my
and
understanding.
that's when
Okay.
they vote.
Okay,
I
And
think
that's where we
I'll
might need
verify
to,
that.
we might need more advice from other towns unless we have some really, maybe Roy or David will have some exposure from other towns. Maybe Georgia understands this from finance perspective.
I can reach out to Kevin Rudd and maybe he'll email me back again.
you never know.
He sent the application, so I can ask him when do you normally have the select board vote on the median?
And
And what
Mhm.
kind of a report does that town give
And-
to their select board?
Yeah, I know what, I recall the report. I remembered how that is put together. I just, don't-
Okay.
but I believe we would need to know how many people are eligible. That
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean. Yeah, I don't know if we need to know who is eligible, the number of eligible people, which would be the gross number of people who get the circuit breaker in town. It might be that number that we judge it on, or we wait for applications to come back. So I will ask those questions.
And so the town gets that information automatically, or we have to request the number of circuit breakers?
Yeah,
in-
we would have to request, well, I think we might be able to look it up on DOR.
Okay,
Haven't done it
I-
yet.
I think
so-
for the purpose of presenting this to town meeting, Kevin probably got that information from DOR or somewhere to find out what the average number of CB applicants is. I'm guessing that though, that to set the actual, how it will impact the tax rate, once we have the applications, that will give us a concrete number.
right.
And-
I mean,
Howard pointed out that, well, some people might file their income tax late, so there's a little bit of play, but I would think the select board would be voting a number consistent with how many applications we've got and the amount that comes to.
I remember he said when he was first presenting the idea, it was like he estimated about 20 people in town.
I think there were
That's-
17.
Okay. And the exemption credit, 600 to 2,400, how is that set? I'm just looking at the application.
There's a fixed amount that it's what the percentage that the select board votes. So the 600 would be 25% and 100%
50.
would be the 24.
50%.
The 24
50, I think is the minimum they can do.
is 600.
50 and then 100, not 25.
So,
But
Okay.
the numbers April's wondering about is set at the state level, at the
Okay.
income tax each year. If you read that, I think I forwarded that right after the meeting, the whole statute where it goes into
yep.
the percentage increase of the year since it was started. It was way too complex. All I know is that the application that Howard gave us from Hopkinton was the same as the one that Kevin gave Becky, was the
Hmm.
same as what I read in some of the state information that I sent to you too, the same numbers. So somebody's figuring it out. We don't have to. Those,
I
Okay.
think that the circuit breaker amount is set in in your taxes. I mean, when you,
Okay.
there's a set amount that, and that's the source of the
Okay.
number.
yes,
So
Yeah.
if the select board votes 100%, that means that the credit is 2,400.
1,200. 1,200.
1,200 is 100%? Okay.
So why is he?
24 is,
No, I don't think.
24
it's 25. You
so
know,
the maximum circuit breaker tax credit for this year is $1,200.
Right, and for
So if
couples,
the select board voted 100%, if the select board voted 100%, it would be at $1,200. If it's 50%, it's 600. If it's 200%, it's 2,400.
Oh, right. Okay. I forgot
and
that.
factor into the, oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I was thinking you can only get one exemption, but this is the one that you can get in addition to the ones that we do in the spring. So never mind. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
we're all
There is
gonna be
one
experts
issue.
in 3 months. Sorry.
That's $600. That's $600 that we've got on there, 600 to 24. I
Mhm.
think the 600 is wrong actually, because the exemption, the amount of the exemption depends on the size of the circuit breaker tax credit. And that's going to be different for every taxpayer. Okay. And there's no minimum to what that can be. The circuit breaker tax credit in theory could, for somebody, it could in theory be as low as $1. The numbers could just end up that way.
Hmm.
So the actual range of the exemption is like $1 to $2,400.
I wonder why it says the minimum
I
is
don't-
600.
Howard, I'm understanding your logic. So you're saying that if a resident received a $25, what are we calling this?
Circuit breaker.
Circuit breaker.
The circuit breaker, if
Credit.
somebody received, you're saying somebody could receive $25 depending on what their income is. And so they could get no more than 25 or
12 to 50.
200 times or $50 is, so each one has to be individually calculated,
Yeah,
each application.
that's the
Yeah.
way. That's the way the statutes. I believe that's my reading of the statute. Yeah.
I've never heard that explanation, so that's
Right.
really
There-
interesting.
Talk to I mean, see what they do in Hopkinton. But I've read, I
Yeah.
read the statute a couple of times, and it looked pretty clear to me that the exemption is pegged to the size of each person's circuit breaker tax credit.
That's the way this document that Leslie has sent us reads. This document that
Yeah.
was signed, chapter 659, underlined, it says shall be no less than 50% and no more than 200% of the amount of the circuit breaker income tax credit.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So even if you only get $25 from the CB, like Howard said, you have to receive at least $600 because of the min and maxes that have been set.
I think
Yeah.
that we should understand this clearly before we send out the applications.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there'll
We'll
be
get this
questions.
clarified before the next meeting.
Yeah, and if, I don't suppose Kevin wants to talk directly to Howard, not that there's an animosity between the two, but
Well,
it might be that somebody,
doesn't Burgess know how this
Hopkinton maybe
works?
could help Kev.
No, he
Oh.
never heard of it.
Oh, okay.
They don't do it in Amherst. It's
And neither
new,
does Roy. It's new to Roy as well.
right? It's
Okay.
new.
Okay.
But we do have Kevin as a resource we can call. And if Howard wanted to call the
Hopkinton.
Hopkinton assessor, he could do that. And I could call Kevin and we can compare it, make sure we got the same answers.
That's a great idea.
Well, what about resources at DLS?
That's a very good point. That's the place to go, George. Except it's not their can of worms yet. That's,
Right.
these individual towns are doing this independently on their own, but they may help anyway.
DLS must be aware of what's going on.
There was an effort by the state group of assessors, Kevin said, to do it, to do it for all communities, but I don't think that's happened yet.
It hasn't.
And they probably don't have video on this, I'm guessing.
Right.
On the YouTube channel.
That's the next
Maybe we can do
module.
ours.
We could do ours. We'd have to get a Boston accent, though.
If we
Well-
want anybody to listen,
Yes.
So I got a question here. I'm just looking back at my notes. Give me 1 second. I spoke with a woman when I was trying to get my account.
Is
set up.
everybody hearing him as poorly as I am?
we can't hear you, George.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, it's because I had my hand over my computer as I was reaching for a piece of paper here. In my notes, I'm going back to when I tried to set up my account and I was working with a woman at DLS. And I'm wondering if she would be able to direct us towards somebody at DLS who should know, but that's okay.
No, you go right ahead and pursue that. I think anybody I'm going to bring our application to the Franklin County Assessors meeting tomorrow that anybody actually could come to. If anybody's free tomorrow morning, 10 to noon at 35 Pleasant Street in Greenfield, there's a meeting of the Franklin County Assessing Association,
Wow.
10 a.m. they're gonna have refreshments
Oh,
and it's free.
hi.
Linda Bradley was the person I spoke to help me take the course. And do you know her? Do you know her or what her title is?
I know that name. Do you, Becky?
No,
All right.
I've got her phone number someplace.
Yeah. Well, anyway, free snacks at the John Zahn Center, 35 Pleasant Street, Greenfield tomorrow. I'm bringing this with me.
All right. Good luck.
We'll
So
get it
just
figured out.
so the section of the law that George read to us, the reason I think it's specific to each person, each applicant, is I'm going to keep going in that section, okay? Shall be not less than 50% and not more than 200% of the amount of the circuit breaker income tax credit pursuant to subsection K of section 6 of chapter 62 of the general laws for which the applicant qualified in the previous year. That's the phrase that I'm basing this on, for which the applicant qualified in the previous year.
and that's
And if,
news in what you just read, Howard. That explains why even if people file their taxes late, it won't matter because they're using the number from the prior year.
Thank you, Becky.
in the previous year. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I can see that. Sure.
And I see what your point too. So we
So
definitely
we don't,
figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so if that's true, then their then in terms of documenting it, we don't need the previous year. So this is 20, okay, wait a minute. So this year is 23. So the previous year is 22. So it would be, is it their tax return for 19? Is it their tax return for 2022
Well,
that we're
actually,
interested in?
on the application, Howard's right. It's saying, please attach a copy of your 2022 state income tax filing and the Mass Schedule CB.
Oh,
Oh,
then I'm wrong. Yeah.
well,
'Cause
wait a minute. Your 2022 state income tax filing. Yeah, okay, yeah. I don't
That's the
think
most
you're wrong,
recent
Becky. I
year.
think
Yeah, so we don't know the answer to whether you haven't filed, you have to have filed your taxes is the bottom line. You can't apply
Or at least,
for it without having
or at
your,
least filled out.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause we don't know if they filed them or not.
well, it does say here in order to be eligible, this
Oh,
is
there it
from
is.
the application. You
Yeah,
must
number
have
2.
filed a 2022 Mass State Tax Income Tax Form CB. So if you want to get it, you better just file it on time.
But
Or
we
you
don't
can
necessarily,
file it at any time. I mean, even if you did an extension, you could file it up to the third week in August.
and bottom line is we wouldn't
That's
know
right.
if they filed, right? We have no way
Right.
of confirming whether they actually filed it or not. Just because they send us a signed tax return doesn't mean that the DOR ever got it.
Yeah, but once it goes, yeah, we don't know, and we can't really,
Yeah, if we suspect that there's fraud, we could go to the DOR and
Right.
yeah, and then they
but
can
we
do
really
it, they can verify whether the person filed taxes or not. So
yes.
Okay, so we're going to need to approve this application at the next meeting, right? Which means,
Yes.
as Leslie said, we're locked into a June meeting. So 4 weeks from today is June 14th.
That should be okay.
Okay, works for me.
Sure. Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
June
Right.
14th at 6:30 PM.
Yep,
Right.
got it.
On my
Okay.
calendar.
It'd be nice to get this program out there and advertise it and, help some people with it.
Yes.
Quick question for Leslie. At our last meeting, we did personal exemptions. We did the accountant's reports for personal exemptions from January through March. And there were 441C exemptions in there. And my question is that all the 41Cs that we have for FY23?
Hold on.
In April, by the way, that's your next section is exemptions.
I know. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh my God, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's the worst one of them all.
I know you said that. It's like, I wish.
Oh, did I tell you that? Yeah, it was
You
not
did.
pleasant.
I thought abatements was so fun.
Well, then you're going to love exemptions because,
I know. It's the blah, 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 blah.
and the best part is that every exemption has a different deadline and you have to know them all.
Yeah, right. It was asking you that. And then some you can have other exemptions and some you cannot. Yeah, it was quite
But you
a
can
web.
still look back. You don't have to memorize it. You just have to know how to
Some
find
of the
it.
questions they ask, looking back, just doesn't seem to help.
And
They're trick questions. They
out.
ask the questions in such a way, it's like, well, is this an issue or is that an issue? I'm telling you, I mean, I passed it, but man, I was sweating.
Oh,
Okay.
And
know.
don't forget, you guys all complicated it horrifically by voting every little percentage and everything you possibly could think of at town meeting. Thank you all very much.
Okay.
Or still, Howard, anybody who would
It's-
like to come in and see them all and see what they were and who got them, that's perfectly fine.
that's great.
And lots of veterans too. We have a good veteran population, which is always good to know we're doing
Because
that.
we're a country, that's because we're a
Yeah.
country that's always at war.
Oh, there's that.
Yeah,
Good point.
It's an
Good point.
economic machine.
that's what the politicians think.
Ah,
Not
That's
all
our
of
next session. Our next session.
We'll do a deep dive on that.
Mm,
Should be fun. I'll bring a beer.
Me too.
Howard, I think you should call for an emotion to adjourn. Sounds like people have things
okay.
they need to do.
Okay, yeah, so.
Sure,
June
okay.
14th, right?
Okay. So June 14th is our next meeting and,
Black Day.
Yeah,
and I move that we adjourn.
and
I'll
I'll
second.
second, and I'll third it.
Okay.
All right,
And I
sorry.
vote to adjourn.
Bye night.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
So we're good. Okay.
Thank you
Awesome.
very
Very
much.
good.
Hey,
Becky, you got a
night,
second?
everybody.
Night.
Bye. Becky, I had 2 more questions that I need to ask you.
Okay, Becky,
Okay.
you don't need me. We're done,
Unrelated
right?
to assessors, FinCom.
Okay. Bye,
Bye,
fun.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Yeah, well, I had you on the phone.
Good night.
Good night.
I meant to ask you 2 other things. You would ask if somebody could come in and check my water. Is somebody coming by tomorrow or Friday?
No, he came in, we got 13 homes done on Monday. So we'll probably be scheduling, he'll probably come back next week and I'm gonna probably shoot for a Friday.
All right, yeah, if you could just give me a day or 2 notice, that's all, because I'm always kind of coming and going.
As soon as I know he's coming out again, I will call you first, or I'll call you first and then tell him when we can have him out again.
Yeah, email or text. He can't take water from where he took it the first time because I don't think that gets filtered at that point. It gets filtered past that point. My question is, he could come to the back and just run my hose and just take the water from the hose if I'm not home.
I think the first time we really need to take a picture of your setup. He's building a file of all the installs.
Okay. Oh, he wants to see what it looks like with the filter on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
And we have
That's
to
fine.
test the valves and make sure everything is in the right place.
Okay. So Becky, I wanted to ask you, because I see of all the votes that are coming up, there's the only one that's being contested is the school committee. And I already know who I'm not going to vote for, one of the people. And there's three others. Do you know anything